There's a Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, that says, Rabbi Hiya Barav Midifni says, Vayamod Ha'am al Moshe, right? That Moshe was judging Bnei Israel from morning till night. But he says, do you really think that he judged everybody from morning to night? No, it's coming to teach you something. What is it coming to teach you? It's coming to teach you that any judge, this is the Gemara, any judge that judges according to his own truth, din la'amito, afilu sha'ahat, even if he does it for 1 hour, it's as if ki'ilu nasa shutaf lakadosh baruch hu b'ma'aseh bereshit. It's as if he became Hashem's partner in ma'aseh bereshit. That's the Gemara. Okay, again, Moshe is judging all day, all night, right? Miboket ad erev, and so the Rav Hiyabar Rav Midifti says that if you think that he really, right, do you really think that he judged people all day, all night? When is he gonna have time to learn? He says the Gemara. So he says, what's it coming to teach you? Any judge that judges din emet, right, a true judgment according to his own truth, la amito means according to his own truth. Afilu sha'ahat, he says, even for 1 hour. Ma'aleh alav hakatuv, it's as if he became a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'maaseh bereshit. That's the Gemara. Zera Shimshon's question is, Mahu la'amito, what does that mean according to his own truth? According to the judge's own truth, and also what is the connection between judging honestly and being a partner with God in Maaseh Bereshit? It doesn't seem to have anything to do with each other. Zera Shimshon brings a midrash rabbah in Devarim. It says Rabbi Reuven says the signature ring, right? The signet ring, Hotamo Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is what? Emet. It's famous. Everybody knows that Hashem's signet ring is Emet. And why Emet? He says, why truth? Because Emet is spelled 3 letters: Aleph, Mem, and Taf. Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet. Mem is the middle letter of the alphabet, and Taf is the last letter of the alphabet. Now, if you take the Mem, it's not necessarily the middle, but if you use the sofits and put them all together, Chaf sofit, Mem sofit, right? Then you'll get that Mem is the middle. Okay, so what does he say? The Midrash says, Ani Rishon ve'ani Aharon. He brings the pasuk in Yeshaya. Ani Rishon ve'ani Aharon omi bal'adai en Elohim. I am the beginning. I'm the first. I am the end. And without me, there's no God. Right? And what does the Shaki say? The Shaki says that Hakadosh Baruch Hu judges and seals his judgment on his own. This is what the Midrash is saying. We're going to take the Gemara that we just said in Shabbat, and we're going to take this Midrash that we learned in Devarim Rabbah, and now we're going to put it together because none of it makes sense. So don't worry, you're not alone. Again, the Gemara in Shabbat says, "Vayamod al Moshe." That he says, do you really think it's possible that he was judging from morning to night? And when is he going to have any time to learn? It's not true. It's coming to teach you something. What is it coming to teach you? That any judge that judges truthfully, even afilu sha'ahat, even 1 hour, it's as if he became partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then he brings the midrash and he says that the signet ring of God is emet. And why emet? Because he's the first, he's the last, and without me, there's no God. That's what he says. Resh Lakish comes to explain this midrash and says that Hashem judges and seals the judgment on his own with his ring. Okay, so now what is the connection? And what is, even if you look at them separately, they don't make sense. So what's it coming? It's coming to hint to you something very important. That any judge that judges has the obligation to raise an argument for each side, and after he strikes a balance. What does that mean? We said Hashem uses his signet ring emet. What does the aleph stand for? We said Rishon. What does Rishon mean? That he's going to look to find the defendant, give him zechut, find him a reason why he's not guilty, and spend time thinking why he's not guilty. Then you go to the complete opposite, the taf. The taf is going to tell you to find the reason why he's chova. And then the mem in the middle is now you bring it both together, and now you say what the real deen is, the proper balance between the two. And if there were 3 judges, one would look to be mezakeh, the other one would look to be hayev, and the third one would set the balance between the two. And that's what it means. Ani Rishon. What does it mean? I am first. I am first to give judge for zechut. Ani Aharon. I am the last to also mehayev, to say he's hayav. Umi bal adai en Elohim, right, means what? To make the proper balance of the judgment. Right? That's what it means. That's what it means. Ani Haron, Ani Rishon, Ani Haron. Now, how does this work for us? Because any judge that judges emet, even for 1 hour, afilu sha'ahat, kelomar, which means what? If he's a lone judge and he has to judge by himself, and he judges for the zechut part and the chova, and then after comes to be in the middle, which is hinted in the name of the word emet, which what is emet? The midah of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is emet. We know this. So if the guy does this, he is the shutaf of Hakadosh Baruch Hu with Maaseh Bereshit. Why? Why is he shutaf? Because he's hinting. You see a hint in the words. If you look at Bereshit bara Elohim, right? So Sofer Tevot, the last letter of each word spells out emet. What is it telling you? It's showing you that one who emulates Hashem's method of judging, right? You do what he does. You're strengthening the foundation of creation because Hashem made the world through Emet. And now I am also going to go through Emet. Why am I going to go through Emet? Because of what it's telling me. It's telling me that Hashem, Ani Rishon, Ani Haron. I'll tell you what does that mean, Ani Rishon? I'm the first one to find merit, and I'm the last. And Ani Haron, I'm also going to find him Chova, and in the name in the middle, I'm gonna find to see why it's all to put it all together. So that's the reason why, and that's how you can understand the Gemara that tells you that anybody that judges honestly and truthfully, he's considered a shutaf of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Now, the Zera Shimshon is going to give you something crazy. He says, "You ready for this? V'lifami misad adin hu patur." By the letter of the law, the person would be patur, but latzet yidei shamayim, you'll be hayav. Now, what does that mean? Latzet yidei shamayim is that he wants to go above and beyond. Okay. Now, in order to go above and beyond, he wants to fulfill his heavenly obligation, call it. He has to pay the other guy. We're going to see what that means. We have a case in the Gemara, Baba Metzia Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. Two guys, it's crazy. Two guys come and give a guy a picadon, right? I actually know a case of two guys that wanted to buy a house. One guy was buying a house from the other. One guy gave cash, and they both deposited in the deposit box. Okay, and they gave one guy to watch over. So everybody had a key. One key, you need two keys or three keys, whatever it was. It comes the closing day, they count all the money, and there's money missing, and nobody knows what. This guy, he says, all right, next week everyone's going to come back. We're all going to take a third. We're all going to split the money. We're all going to take a hit. He comes back they all come back to his office next week. The guy that they entrusted the money to, he comes up with the complete $50,000 that was missing. And he says, here. And he says, why? And they're all like, what's going on? We all agreed we're going to split it a third. He says, no, I'm doing it because I don't want anyone to have a hashash that it was me. So I want to fill the whole thing. And that's exactly what it says in Shulchan. So Tosfot brings this is the opinion of Rabbi Tafon, that is what din emet means, that a judge judges emet. That what La'amito is telling you, the Shulchan Aruch tells you. I'll wrap it up here. Shenaim, two people that gave it to one person. One guy gives 100, and the other guy gives 200. And the other but the guy who they gave it to he doesn't remember which one gave me the 2 and which one gave me the 100. And they both say, no, I gave you the 200. Right? So because he's negligent, he's responsible to giving the other 100. Okay, Reuven gives 200, Shimon gives 100. But now they give it to Levi. Levi doesn't know which one's which. He forgot. Shimon is also saying, I gave 200. Reuven saying he gave 200. So Levi, the guy that collected the money, that was holding the money as a picadon, has to shell out the other 100 money. Because why? Because he was negligent. Okay, now, however, what if no one is saying the money's mine? Shimon is not saying the 200 is mine. He's just saying the 100 is mine. He's not saying nothing. He's saying the 100 is mine. Reuven saying, right? But he doesn't know. He's not sure. Levi is not sure. So if he wants to fulfill his heavenly obligation, he's hayav. He's supposed to give. This is Shulchan Aruch. But he's patur. He doesn't have to. But if he wants to, he should. That's the thing. And Tosfot is writing in Shabbat and Gemara that a person that's done din emet lamito is what's it coming to exclude? It's coming to exclude din merumeh, right? When there's some what's it called? When there's a deceitfulness fraudulent, call it, right? When there's a deen fraudulent, which means what? What is the Tosfot trying to say? That a dayan is obligated to judge honorably and faithfully and truthfully, right? And that's what lamito means. And to what? And not to go by the claims of the Baalei Dinim, what they're saying, if they contradict the truth. Meaning, his job is to bring out the truth. If Reuven is saying something and Levi and Shimon is saying something and it's not making sense, it's not working, it's contradicting the truth, and he has the obligation to whip it out, to bring it out. But the Sema writes in Hoshim Mishpat Siman Tedvav Sif Katan Tedvav, so it's easy to remember. Hoshim Mishpat Tedvav Tedvav. He says that if he's not sure and he can't come to the truth on his own, he has to remove himself from the case. And that's what Shulchan Aruch writes in Seif Gimel. He's got to remove himself from the case. Why? Because his job is lehamito, la'amito, to do it truthfully. Now, but our case, where the guy gave 100 and the other guy gave 200, and we know for sure that there's lying, even here, the Dayan is able to make the Levi who was holding the Pikadon liable to pay 200 to each guy, even though one of them is for sure lying. Why? Because Levi's obligation was to make sure that he wrote it down, that he knew it was proper. So since his tolerance for fraud, call it, was low, because like, okay, I don't care. This guy says whatever, it's your problem. Reuven and Levi and Shimon's problem. Since you say it's your problem, then it's not my problem, and Levi is the one that collected the money. So since it's not his problem, the judge is able to say that's not correct, and you have to pay the extra 200. You have to pay the extra 100, right? And that is the emet that Tosfot is talking about. The im tomar, if you want to say, but this is great, and we're going to end here. That with the rim is of sha'ahat, right? It says if a person judges honestly, even for 1 hour, it's considered as if he's shutaf with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, with B'riyat Ha'olam. V'yesh lomar, that any dayan that judges even for an hour. Okay, so when it says the haboked, right? It says mehaboked ad ha'erev. It doesn't have to say ad haboked. The hay is extra. It should just read boked, right? It should just read boked ad erev. So what is it saying? What's the extra hay? It's for sure coming to teach you something. What's it coming to teach you? That when you say haboked, the morning, it's not saying the whole morning. It's saying whenever it says the morning, it's talking about the beginning of the morning. It's talking about the beginning. Moshe Rabbeinu did not judge from morning to night. Okay, by the way, just FYI, there wasn't that much I don't know if there was that much or not, but they just came out of, how much could they be judging? They're all coming out of Mitzrayim. It's not like they had business and things going on. They were, pretty much occupied with other things. So he's saying, so Zera Shimshon has explained that he just did the beginning part of the morning. How long? That's where the hay comes from. The hay is coming to teach you from the beginning of the morning, the time between Amud Alot Shahar, which is daybreak, until Netz, okay, is the time it takes you to walk 5 meal. Each meal is 2,000 amot. So it's coming to show you what does it mean that ad min habokir? It's coming to teach you what? That Moshe Rabbeinu judged in the beginning part of the day. From the beginning part of the day, from daybreak until Netz. And how do we know? Because the hay is extra, and the hay is 5, and the time, and the time it takes you to walk 5 meal, right? Is the time from La'alot Shahar until Netzachama. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen v'Amen. Shabbat Shalom.